Hello, and welcome to the Balance Works Employee Assistance Program Orientation. E&I is a national provider of behavioral health and work-life benefits. We cover all 50 states and over 2 million individuals. We've been in operation since 1983, and our corporate office is located in upstate New York. Balance Works is the name of the EAP service provided by E&I, and it's available to employees and family members. Some important things to remember are: the EAP provides a wide range of services to help with resolving personal situations and concerns that may affect an individual's well-being or job performance. Our call center is available by calling 1-800-EAP-CALL or 1-800-327-2255, and it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We answer all calls live. The Balance Works EAP is included at no additional cost to the employee. It's part of the employee benefits package. The Balance Works benefit is available to all eligible employees as defined by your employer, and part-time employees if the organization allows. Eligible family members can also use Balance Works. Eligible family members include the employee's spouse or domestic partner, the employee's dependent children up to the age of 26, or the employee's unmarried children, regardless of age, residing with the employee who are mentally or physically incapable of earning their own living. Since Balance Works is an employer-sponsored benefit, many people have concerns about the confidentiality of the benefit. Confidentiality is a key principle of the EAP, and all parts of the benefit are confidential. Employers will have no knowledge about an employee using any component of the benefit. Regarding counseling, for ethical and legal reasons, counselors cannot release any information to the employer without the individual's permission in writing. The law protects a person's right to confidentiality during counseling, so we're bound by the same HIPAA laws as your doctor's office or any other medical facility. The only exceptions to confidentiality are if someone is deemed to be a threat to themselves or to someone else, or when the welfare of a child is in question. Next, I'm going to cover the details of the EAP. There are 4 components. E&I recognizes that, due to the busyness of work and life, individuals can't always find the time to accomplish the things they need or want to do. This lack of time causes stress. So E&I includes a personal assistant service to help employees balance the competing demands of work and life by providing a professional to help with those time-related issues. This allows you to have more free time to spend with your family and friends, instead of spending hours on the internet or making phone calls. Some examples of the types of requests that have been answered are vacation planning, locating piano lessons, locating elder and child care services, finding a contractor, locating the best prices for tires, planning weddings, honeymoons, or other major events, or even how to get squirrels out of the attic. Personal assistant requests can be made by calling the toll-free number 1-800-327-2255, by submitting a request online at mybalanceworks.com, or by submitting a request on the mobile app Balance Go. Use of the personal assistant service is unlimited, and it can be used by all members. A second benefit that members have with Balance Works is a free 30-minute telephonic financial consultation with a financial professional per separate issue during the calendar year. Eligible members can have their financial questions answered and get resources and advice for any financial matters such as bankruptcy questions, how to make a budget, credit counseling, etc. Members are also entitled to a no-cost 30-minute consultation with a licensed attorney per issue during a calendar year regarding legal matters, excluding actions between employee and employer. Consultations can be provided over the phone or in person on matters including wills, custody issues, purchasing a home, small claims, and more. If after the consultation, the member needs to hire an attorney because the issue is complex or can't be handled within the 30-minute time frame, the member will be referred to an attorney in the appropriate area. If the member chooses to use this attorney, they will receive a 25% discount on the hourly rate or a 10% discount on flat fee services. Court costs, filing fees, and fines are the responsibility of the individual. It's important to note that any law firms contracted by E&I will not assist an employee in suing their employer. Eligible members can get up to a certain number of free sessions with a mental health professional per separate issue during a calendar year. The number of sessions is based on your organization's agreement with E&I. Per separate issue means that you can use the EAP for counseling multiple times in a year as long as the issues are different. So you can use the EAP for stress in March and then again in July for grief. Don't assume that you can't use the EAP again. Sometimes the reason for the issue is different. For instance, you may be depressed in March due to the death of a loved one, and then in September, you may be depressed because of a divorce. Even though the diagnosis of depression might be the same, the cause of the issue is different. So you may still be eligible for EAP sessions for the depression caused by divorce. It is a clinical assessment and decision, so always call and let E&I decide if the issue is appropriate for EAP counseling. When an employee calls E&I, an intake specialist will refer the employee to a network counselor located near their home or office. All counselors are carefully screened and monitored and are mental health professionals with a master's degree in social work or above. If an employee needs long-term counseling, E&I will assist with finding the appropriate care. So what happens when an employee calls E&I for counseling? The process is very simple. First, employees call the toll-free number at 1-800-327-2255 at any time, day or night, to be connected immediately to an intake specialist at E&I. For counseling inquiries, the intake specialist will ask for basic demographic information, along with questions relating to the situation the individual is calling about. The employee must identify their organization, who they work for, or who their spouse or parent works for. The intake specialist will also assess for suicidal ideation, domestic violence, or drug and alcohol abuse as required by law. The intake takes about 5 minutes to complete, depending on the nature of the call. The intake specialist will provide the individual with a referral to an appropriate mental health professional within our national network of providers. If the individual is uninsured or a compatible provider is unable to be located, E&I will search for local counseling services or community resources that meet their financial needs. For crisis situations, counselors are available for immediate, in-the-moment counseling. They also have access to emergency services if that is needed. Employees and their eligible family members also have access to their own personalized web portal located at www.mybalanceworks.com. First-time users of the MyBalanceWorks website will need to select New User. If you've already created a username and password, you may enter the information into the Returning Users section. New users will be directed to enter a member ID and a group ID. These numbers are only needed for the initial login and are the same for all employees and eligible family members. The member and group ID numbers are printed on the front of the employee member guide that was provided by your benefits administrator or HR department. Once you've entered those numbers, you will fill in the demographic information and you'll be prompted to create your own personal username and password. From that point on, you log in with your personal username and password. You will no longer need the member and group ID numbers. If you've misplaced the member guide, you may contact your HR department or you may call E&I at 1-800-327-2255 and a personal assistant will provide you with the member and group ID numbers. Personal assistants can also assist if you're having difficulty logging in at any time. Once you've logged in, you'll be directed to the home page. You can track personal assistant and ask a counselor requests, access research articles and self-assessments, and our e-learning course library. When you click the e-learning icon, you'll be led to the e-learning course page. There are dozens of trainings covering a variety of topics including wellness, safety, compliance, and human resources. Simply click on the icon for the topic in which you're interested to see the listing of available courses. Members have access to this e-learning library 24/7. E&I recognizes that today's workforce is always on the go, so we include the free mobile app Balance Go to provide quick and easy access to BalanceWorks. On the app, you can submit personal assistant requests, submit a question to ask a counselor, access articles and self-assessments, and start a legal or financial consultation. Members can create a username and password on either the website or the mobile app. Members can download Balance Go on both the iTunes App Store or Google Play Store. As a supervisor, it's essential that you're proactive in effectively resolving situations that affect an employee's job performance. Being proactive may help your company avoid costly terminations and possibly even legal consequences. Intervening at a crucial time may successfully guide the employee towards job improvement. You may be the individual most able to successfully intervene with a performance challenge and motivate changes in behavior. The EAP benefit can help you with some of the challenges that you'll encounter as a manager. Why use the EAP to help you as a manager? In many cases, early intervention can help prevent small challenges from turning into large challenges, which will affect the workplace, worker productivity, and your company's bottom line. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, research shows that for each dollar invested in an EAP, the average return on investment is anywhere from $3 to $13. EAPs can reduce sick leave usage by 33%, work-related accidents by 65%, workers' compensation claims by 30%, lost time by 40%, and grievances by 50%. More importantly, the EAP allows supervisors to stay on a professional basis with their employee, while at the same time offering a solution for dealing with personal challenges that affect job performance. As a supervisor, it's important for you to understand that employees can be negatively affected by two types of challenges: performance-related challenges or life challenges. Some examples of work-related challenges include conflict with others, changes in job duties, hours, etc., lack of understanding expectations, changes in management or coworkers, fear of layoffs, mergers, or site closings. Personal challenges often affect an employee. Examples of this type of challenge include marriage or relationship problems, family issues, financial difficulties, stress, or emotional problems. It's never the supervisor's role to diagnose or determine the employee's specific personal challenge. That can create legal issues for both the manager and the organization. Instead, focus on performance-related challenges before contacting the EAP. There are two ways an employee can be referred to the EAP: voluntary or mandated referral. Suggesting that an employee may want to contact the EAP, or an employee deciding on their own to seek EAP counseling, is a voluntary referral, and it's really just a suggestion to use the EAP, not an actual mandated referral to the benefit. Voluntary referrals occur because in today's busy world, many employees are faced with numerous and conflicting demands of their time, and some experience personal situations that cause them difficulty in focusing on their jobs. When the personal demands clash with an individual's responsibilities at work, it can cause tremendous stress. As a supervisor, this is where your knowledge of your employees comes into play, because you'll most likely be the first person to notice that an employee is having difficulties. When you notice that an employee is struggling, you may want to remind the employee about the EAP services, because using the EAP can help preserve an employee's ability to continue to focus at work. Encouraging your employees to voluntarily contact E&I is preferred over mandating them because it allows the employee to own the challenge. They will more likely be successful in addressing challenges if they do it on their own. However, as a supervisor, you may need to strongly suggest that the employee contact the EAP. 95% of referrals happen this way. Sometimes, however, more serious intervention is needed. When an employee's work performance is affected by their stress and issues, you may have to take a more formalized approach. This is called a mandated referral, and should be used when an employee has not taken ownership of the performance challenge, and they may be in danger of discipline or termination. This referral can be made for issues such as continually coming in late to work, substance abuse, physical or verbal altercations occurring with another employee, or if an employee shows up to work drunk. Mandating an employee for counseling is a serious step for work performance issues. A mandated referral is appropriate only for documented, on-the-job performance challenges or violations of company policy. It is not appropriate if you sense that an employee is under stress and you decide he needs help. It is not for minor infractions of the rules. And because mandating an employee gives the employee a second chance, mandating is also not appropriate if the goal is to terminate the employee. Mandating processes differ from client to client, but managers should always review their company policy regarding mandates. As a supervisor, however, you might want to be involved in some of the conversations concerning the mandate, so managers need to understand the process. That way, if a manager is involved, they know what to expect. If a supervisor believes an employee should be mandated, the supervisor must always follow company policy. In most cases, it's the HR department that does the mandate, not the manager. Follow company policy. It may be HR who does mandates. To mandate someone, call the EAP and ask to speak with an intake specialist. The intake specialist will walk the employer through the mandate process to ascertain what the issue is and what the employer hopes to accomplish with the mandate. The intake specialist will send the employer the appropriate paperwork, including the release of information. The employer then informs the employee of the mandate and has the employee sign the release of information, which is returned to E&I. The only person to whom E&I can provide updates is the person whose name is on the release of information. It's important to note that even though you are the employee's supervisor, if your name is not on the release of information, E&I cannot inform you if the employee is complying with the mandate. E&I will reach out to the employer for follow-ups and to report compliance. Any recommendations are made at the sole discretion of the provider. When you identify a performance issue, there are steps to take whether or not you expect to mandate the employee. Documenting the performance issue is the most important step. Documenting will assist you or the HR department in talking with the employee to bring about a resolution. It's also important to stick to what is observable when documenting a performance issue. It's important to include the date and time of the event, and to include as much detail as possible in order to be prepared for the discussion with the employee. People don't change just because someone tells them to. They change when they have a clear understanding of what is expected of them, and they have the motivation to make the change. Bringing emotion into the conversation, for example, getting angry, will make the employee more defensive and will often escalate the situation. During the discussion, you want to keep the conversation on a professional level. Anytime you speak with an employee, it's important that you do the following. Tell the employee you are concerned about their performance. Clearly state what the problem is and be specific. Refer to documentation of specific events to support your statements. Avoid generalizations. Instead of saying, "You're always late," refer to specific documentation and state, "You've been late 6 out of the last 15 days." Additional ways to effectively discuss the issue with the employee are: avoid getting involved in a discussion of personal problems and giving advice regarding what to do. Strive to find an agreement with the employee about what the work performance problem is. Clearly state what about the employee's performance must change in order to resolve the problem. Set a specific timeline for performance improvements. And clearly state specific consequences if the problem continues. Even though, as a manager, you take the emotion out of the conversation, employees may still react in an emotional manner, which can make it challenging for the supervisor to keep the meeting focused on the performance issue. Some of these traps are sympathy, making excuses, apologies, diversions, feigned innocence, anger, pity, or tears. Trying to maintain that focus will make the meeting more productive and will make the manager not caught up with the employee's feelings. It is not a supervisor's responsibility to have all the answers to employee issues or provide counseling or therapy. From time to time, you may not know what to do about a situation with a difficult or troubled employee. In those instances, you may contact the EAP to get an objective perspective on the issue and discuss how to handle certain situations or communicate effectively with the employee. This consultation helps to keep your company in a better legal position. It takes the manager out of the personal knowledge and feelings that they may have for the employee and helps to keep the conversation on a strictly professional business level. With over 40,000 mental health providers across the US and Canada, Employees can see a professional close to their workplace or home, and many of the providers have flexible appointment times, including weekends and evenings. Supervisors can use the EAP as a tool to assist them in getting a troubled employee back on track, thus helping a good employee and saving their company the costs of terminating someone, hiring someone new, and training the new person. The EAP is available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and is entirely confidential. It's a constructive approach for you and your family to maintain a more balanced life, and as a manager, it provides another tool to help you handle the challenges that occur on a daily basis. For additional information, consult your benefit specialists at ENI. Give us a call at 1-800-327-2255 or visit us online at www.mybalanceworks.com and download the mobile app, Balance Go.